So this is my new live events for the month of November, and the whole point is to help create some great healthy food ideas for Thanksgiving. So I think I explained in the last episode, if you saw the last one, that whenever I mentioned we're going to do healthy eating options for Thanksgiving, you like this? I got like, there we go. Whenever I say we're going to do healthy eating options for Thanksgiving, people get mad at me and they're like, stop talking, I don't want to hear it anymore. So what I really want to kind of stress is just because you're going to have a healthier option for your Thanksgiving dinner table, doesn't mean it has to taste bad. It can mean that, because you're going to have like maybe a high calorie day having pie and sweets and all the other good stuff that come with Thanksgiving, maybe there's a couple side dishes you can have that will help at least give your body some like great nutrients to deal with. So that's kind of what I'm coming at you with today. Today we're gonna make baconed broccoli buttered Parmesan. I know that's a long name. So I think it's really important, again, before we start, to just remind everyone that I am not a professional chef, and I'm not even gonna try to pretend like I am one. So if you watch something and you're like, she's doing that the hard way, please comment below so that I can know for future reference, because I am all about finding fast, healthy, yummy meals. That is like my whole go-to. If it's going to take me hours to make, I'm not going to make it. So this is why this one is so great. So here we go. I found a really big head of broccoli. I think I put in the description, get 2 heads of broccoli. If you can find just a really big one, that's okay too. Broccoli is you always want to wash it. So always wash off your vegetables. Even if you buy organic, organic doesn't necessarily mean that they don't use any pesticides. What it means sometimes is that they'll use organic pesticides to be able to, keep the crops looking normal. So you still want to wash those off, right? You still don't want to necessarily consume those particular things in your body. So always wash off your vegetables. Do you have to go crazy and like scrub it with? No, just rinse it off, make sure that it's dried. When you're cooking broccoli, it doesn't have to be super dry. Sometimes when we're baking like cauliflower and some of the other vegetables, you want to make sure they're super dry before you cook them. I find with broccoli that it doesn't matter as much. So, I like shake off the water and I pat it and make sure that there's no water left in there, but I wouldn't get too crazy. So now I'm gonna get out my knife. This looks kind of like Halloween-ish now, doesn't it? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna just cut the broccoli. So I'm gonna try to get the broccoli in pretty quick because this is actually a really quick dish to make. So all I'm doing right now is I'm just cutting off the broccoli from the main part of the stem. Now, some of you guys are gonna watch this and be like, Sarah, we know how to cut broccoli, okay? But like some people don't, and it scares us to not eat vegetables because we're like, how do we even cut it? So essentially, I just cut off all the little broccoli florets. And this is probably how you'd buy it in a like baggie at the store, right? So they're just little broccoli florets. Now, if you try to bake something this big, you're gonna find yourself baking for a really long time. And like I said, I am one to find food that's gonna be really quick to make. So what you're gonna wanna do is kind of break this apart. And I literally just go through and I hand break it apart and put it in the bowl. So your mixing bowl is going to be your best friend for this dish. So make sure that it's a nice big bowl and that it's clean. Just break it apart. So always think of this as a rule of thumb when you're cooking vegetables. If you have them too big or too thick, they're going to take twice as long to cook. So you want to kind of break them down so that they can get cooked a little quicker. We're going to talk about cooking veggies too here in just a second. I'm just going to finish this up for you guys. So on deck, what you're gonna want is 2 tablespoons of avocado oil. Now you could use other oils if you want. So some people use olive oil. Some people, prefer coconut oil. I find that avocado oil is the best for me because it doesn't have any kind of added flavors to it. Like olive oil, I don't know if you're a big fan of olives, maybe it's not a big deal. I'm not a huge fan of olives, so that little olive taste does matter to me. Avocado oil is very tasteless, so it doesn't have any taste to it. The other great thing about avocado oil is it has a high burning point. So when oils get hot, they are going to, at some point, a high smoking point, I should say, they're going to burn and then they're going to start to smoke. And in that smoke, it's usually not very good. There's a lot of different types of chemicals and that get released from it that can actually like infiltrate your food. So using olive oil, avocado oil, coconut oil, those three are going to be high smoking point oils. So those are good for the oven cooking and also for pan cooking as well. So here we go. I have my 2 tablespoons of olive oil. So when you pour this on, it's not going to seem like much. You're going to like pour it on. You're going to be like, I don't know. I think I need more. Don't put any more. You're gonna put this in the oven, it's gonna bake. We're also gonna be adding some ghee at the end. So right now, this is just to kind of get a little bit of, we're gonna mix it all together here in a second. And then we're also gonna sprinkle in, do you guys hear my son in the background? He's down for a nap, but he's not napping, for the record. So we're gonna just sprinkle in just a little bit of salt and a little bit of pepper. And then we're gonna grab a spoon and we're just gonna mix it up really, really well. So, like I said, you're going to be adding some more stuff to it later. Right now, it's not going to seem like much. Don't worry about it too much. Because we're baking it, we're not going to bake it for too long, but we just want that olive oil to get spread around a little bit so that it's not coming in completely dry in the oven. It's good to note now that, when you're adding oils, you are adding fat to your food. So it's not like just because you don't see it after you add it, doesn't mean you're not putting something in your body that has calories, okay? So no point in overdoing the oils here, especially since we're adding some more kind of flavored stuff in the end. So I took my pan, I put tin foil on it, and I put a spray of avocado oil on the pan. And I'll show you which one I use. Now, I'm not gonna throw this bowl in the sink. I'm just gonna put it off to the side because I'm gonna use it again. You wanna make sure that the broccoli is spread out so that it's not taking up, not all piled on top of each other. That way it has an equal opportunity to cook. And I'm gonna throw this in the oven. I preheated the oven to 425. 425 is where, do I suck at that? I must suck at that every single time. So preheat the oven to 425. I'm gonna put my broccoli in. I'm gonna start my timer for 15 minutes. So we're gonna just cook it for 15 minutes here. Now, there might be a tendency to feel like, oh no, I gotta cook it longer than that. Here's the reality. The reason why most of us hate broccoli and hate vegetables is because we overcook them, all right? Overcooking is gonna make, of course, it's gonna make it taste terrible. It's gonna make it taste mushy and it's gonna make it taste like nothing, or worse than that, it gets a negative taste. How many people had broccoli in elementary school and had like the mushy kind that got boiled, and then you go to eat it and it's just disgusting, okay? Of course we all hate broccoli because of that. Broccoli is an amazing vegetable though and gives a lot of great nutrients in your body. It has a lot of vitamin C in it, so it helps boost your immune system. I mean, broccoli is just such a vital part of can be a vital part of your healthy diet plan. It also has a lot of fiber, so it's going to fill you up. It's going to be a great source of energy for your body, so there's a lot of great benefits to it. However, you don't want to overcook it, okay? So what we're going to do is just cook it for 15 minutes. We're going to move it around a little bit on the tray, and then we're going to cook it for another 2, and that's it. And I'll tell you why in just a little bit. So while that's cooking, I'm going to kind of go through the rest of the ingredients here. So this is a really simple dish. Literally, that's the biggest cooking time. Everything else is just going to be throwing it back into the bowl that we started with. I just wanted to talk a little bit about the ingredients though. So Parmesan cheese is in here. Now typically, as my clients know, I push makes it sound like I'm mean. I support clean eating as an option for long-term healthy outlook to eating food. So, almost every single diet on this, that's in this diet culture that we live in, all of them have certain restrictions and thoughts or whatever, but they all rely on you having a clean eating diet below it. So even in keto, you can't have carbs, but they're not telling you should eat all the bad stuff. They still want you to eat clean, but you're just limiting your carbs. That makes sense, right? Same with paleo or even intermittent fasting. All of these, they're still basing it on the idea that you are going to have a clean eating diet. All right, so clean eating diets, one of the main things in there is that the food you're eating is not processed. Now, cheese is just highly processed. processed, okay? And when you go buy it in the store, you have to look at your label to know that you're getting something that's on the cleaner side. Parmesan cheese is a great cheese option, even for the clean eater. First of all, it tends to be a lot lower in calories. And also it's because it's aged for as long as it has been aged, it doesn't tend to have too much dairy lactose in it. So even for people that are lactose intolerant, usually Parmesan cheese is going to be okay. That being said, this recipe can get substituted with nutritional yeast. If you're like, what is nutritional yeast? It is a pretty much essentially like the nutrients and the flakes have the same kind of nutrients and ingredients as that would come in dry yeast. Now, it's not active yeast is going to be the one that helps your bread rise. This nutritional yeast is not going to help anything rise, but it has a cheesy, nutty flavor, so it's a great substitute for your Parmesan cheese if you need to substitute it. Okay, so I buy it in the block because this one is, let's see here, the ingredients: cultured, pasteurized organic milk, sea salt, and enzymes. So when you see a cheese say enzymes, most likely what it's talking about is something called rennet. You should watch my video on YouTube about cheeses if you want to know more about it, but essentially it's a speeding agent that helps the cheese age quicker. That way you don't have to wait 5 years for your cheese in the supermarket, and you can have it a lot faster. So those, it's actually quite, still a very natural substance, and that's usually what enzymes is going to be referring to. So if you want to know more information about that, go check out my YouTube video on cheeses. That being said, what I do here is I just grate it up, and so I had another thing of it. So here's the grated up cheese that I have ready. Now what I do is 3 tablespoons of Parmesan cheese. So I'm going to just put that off to the side. All right, now I also cooked up bacon. Now listen, okay, I know probably what you're thinking when you first, saw baconed Parmesan buttered, bacon. It's kind of hard to believe that it could be on in a healthy eating diet, but it is. You want to know why? Because it adds immense flavor. All right, it's something that is going to be higher in fat, so it's going to be a higher fat option, obviously, which means it's going to have more calories. I'm trying to do this and not cut my fingers off. Wouldn't that be terrible to do that live? That would be terrible. So I'm going to be really careful here. So bacon's one of those satisfying types of flavors, a savory, kind of salty flavor. And there's actually quite a few studies done on it that people that actually leave, even on diet programs, leave bacon in their diet, they tend to eat overall less calories and feel more satisfied by their diet. And it's just because it has this rich flavor and it makes us feel like you're still able to enjoy your food, which is the point, guys. You want to still enjoy your food and eat it healthy, right? So if a little bit of bacon on top of something is going to help you do that, then great. Now, if you looked at the ingredients, and I put that you also wanted to get sugar-free bacon, I wanted to kind of talk about that for a second. So typically, most bacon, and now when you go to the store, you're going to be able to check it out and see for yourself. When you go see bacon, it's going to say that less than 2% typically they use bacon to pretty much it's helping as a preservative and also a flavor profile on the bacon. Now it is so minimal that if you buy bacon with sugar in it, is it going to ruin everything? No. But here's the reality. Sugar is very addictive. And if you can try to cut it out of your life as much as possible. Now, you know me, I believe in an 80-20. So 80% of the time eating whole, low sugar foods. And then 20% of the time you got to enjoy yourself, right? Life is too short. But, if you're having something like bacon, which already is so much flavor, it doesn't need sugar in it to have any more flavor, and it doesn't taste any different. I'll tell you right now, this bacon does not taste any different than regular bacon at the store. So this is the one I got from the store. So it's, I don't know if that's reading backwards, but essentially it says at the top, no sugar added. All right, good. And then it also says no nitrates or no nitrates added. And there's no preservatives in this particular, bacon. Of course, it also says that it's a crate-free pig that was used and all this. So this is a very very animal conscious bacon that we're eating. Here's the thing. Does it matter? Of course it does. If you're eating something that had a good life, that was fed right, and now you're eating its meat, yeah, it's going to make a difference on what you're eating, and it's going to make a difference for your body and how your body absorbs it. So it is absolutely important to know, what's going on in the food that you're eating. All right, so get the bacon, get the sugar-free bacon. Typically, It's not going to be that much more money in the store than the other bacons they have. Usually bacon's pretty expensive anyway. But that's pretty much that. As far as the bacon goes, I'm doing this the hard way. I have a little chopper, but I thought that'd be a little lame to be like chop, 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 chop. But you want to chop up your bacon really, really fine for this one. So you want to, this is 6 pieces of bacon. So it's roughly about 50 calories per piece. All right, so I'm gonna do the math. So as we're adding this into your bowl, I want you to kind of start thinking about the calories a little bit, all right? Because you have the power to change up how this is going to taste and how many calories you're going to have in your dish. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna take the bowl that I already mixed everything in. So yeah, there's gonna be little scraps of some broccoli in there, and there's gonna be some avocado oil still left in. And I'm just gonna take my bacon, put it on the bottom of the pan here. And then I'm gonna take my Parmesan cheese. Now Parmesan cheese, 3 tablespoons is just under 100 calories. So it's gonna be like 95 calories for 3 tablespoons of Parmesan cheese. Totally worth it. Again, Parmesan cheese is a great choice. Again, you can substitute with nutritional yeast and you're still gonna get that nutty flavor. The last thing that we're gonna add into our bowl here is ghee. I'm doing a post about this tomorrow on my page because a lot of people are like, what the heck is ghee? Ghee is essentially, it's clarified butter, all right? You're probably like thinking to yourself now, what is clarified butter? Clarified butter really is just when they take regular butter and then they pretty much melt it down so that the milk proteins and the water are gone from it. So essentially ghee is a dairy-free butter. All right, that's it. That's as amazing and shocking as that all gets. So typically though, ghee is going to be a little harder, so it's not going to be as soft as regular butter. And usually it comes in a jar, so it's not as easy to muddle around with. But if for this purpose, typically you might think you'd want to like melt it down, but what we're going to be doing is taking the hot broccoli, putting it on top of our ingredients, letting it kind of soften on its own, and then mixing it all up together. So I'm going to take, let's see how much I can do this. We'll see if I have the amazing talent to dig into some ghee here. This is my ghetto way of hi. Okay, so just gonna take 2 tablespoons of ghee. Now ghee is high in calories, guys. So what's really important to note is that the oils, the Parmesan cheese, the bacon, this entire meal is going to be 2 tablespoons of ghee. This entire meal, when it all gets added up with the calories, here we go. So I have all my ingredients just sitting here in the bottom of my bowl. It's important to note that these ingredients, this little bit in the bottom of this bowl is the biggest part of the calories of what you're eating. The broccoli, for 2 crowns of broccoli or 1 big one like I have, you're looking at like 45 calories. So theoretically, if you just wanted to have broccoli at your dinner table, that would be a way healthier option, right? So if you just like broccoli with some salt and pepper, that's great. Your trick with that is not to let the broccoli get mushy, all right? So do not overcook it. That is still gonna be an amazing meal. So the rest of your calories that you're looking at, and this is, when this is all said and done, this is gonna be about 990 calories for the entire dish. Now you think about it, you separate it into 6 helpings for different people, and now you're looking at probably about 160 calories per serving. Now just remember, that'd be a lot less without all this stuff. So is this a healthy option for Thanksgiving? I mean, yeah, because this could replace a broccoli casserole with a lot of extra, cheeses and stuff like that. And this could be just as flavorful, and it will be, I promise you, because I've had it before. So about 3 minutes right there. So I wanted to kind of just chat with you for a second, kind of about the calorie counts, because what we're looking at in this dish are essentially fats are really what's taking up the majority of our calories. So fat is a needed part of your diet, but it's important to note that fat is has 9 calories per gram of fat. Now, when you're doing, when you're trying to, for my friends out there that do macros and kind of check macros, that's a high amount. So you're going to have less than you would have of protein and carbs, because protein and carbs are only 4 calories per gram. So that's why something like this, even though it's not really a lot in the bottom of this bowl, is going to be higher in calories than you would if you cooked up something else. However, good fats and this introduction of fats in your diet are going to help satiate you. It's going to help you feel like you love your food. Your body's going to be able to process it. As long as you're putting, healthy fats into your diet, your body's going to be able to process it pretty well. And in that case, it means that you're going to be able to use it as energy. It's not going to be something that's going to weigh you down. Now, what you want to kind of stay away from are your saturated fats, which is why we tend to cut down on the dairy, and we try to cut down on butter, which is dairy as well. So taking cheese and butter out of your diet and replacing it with ghee and using a lower calorie, lower dairy lactose option like Parmesan cheese are going to be the better options. Now, bacon is bacon, all right? It's a saturated fat. It's going to be in there regardless. But like I said, sometimes you add in a little bit of something so that it makes everything, natural. As long as you're trying to get the most natural version of that saturated fat possible, then it can be a part of a healthy diet, absolutely, okay? All right, well, let's go ahead and take it out. I wasn't prepared with my oven mitts, obviously. Here I am. All right, so the reason why I use tin foil, let me just grab, see, not prepared. The reason why I use tin foil is because it tends to make the broccoli kind of brown up a little bit on the edges. So that's nice. I used parchment paper before as well, and sometimes the parchment paper doesn't give it that little bit of a brown look, which for me, I think is great. So if you look at your broccoli at this point, it's not going to look like it's like falling apart from gooiness or whatever, and it shouldn't. We're going to put it back in for 2 more minutes. All right, so 2 more minutes on that means that it's going to just cook up a little bit more on the side that wasn't exposed downward to the tin foil. So here's the thing. When you overcook vegetables, you're losing a couple of things. You're losing some nutrients that the vegetable is giving you. And the whole point of eating veggies is so that you can fill up on nutrients and you can start to actually, your body can benefit from those nutrients, and it will fill you up longer because it takes longer for your body to process the food. So therefore, you feel fuller longer. That's why vegetables are so amazing. So overcooking your broccoli, or overcooking, you're going to take out those nutrients, and then what's the point, right? And it's also going to take out the flavor. And if you love, flavor, if you're one of those weird people that loves flavor, then you don't want to cook it out of your food. So because we're making this for Thanksgiving, I think it's really important that you only put the broccoli in for 15 minutes. What's going to happen is you're going to pull it out, and then it's going to sit on the counter for a little while, and then everyone's going to take time to get their plates ready, and people are going to do blah, blah, blah. It's going to take, now all of a sudden 30 minutes has gone by, and the broccoli isn't hot anymore. So you're going to want to heat it back up again, maybe not even right away, but maybe the next day, and you don't want to already be in the zone where you are overcooking the broccoli, okay? So if it's a little crunchy still and warm, that is the good stuff right there. You still want it to be a little crunchy and enjoy all the flavors that kind of, dig in to the broccoli itself. 30 seconds. All right, so here's how we're gonna do it. We're gonna take the broccoli out and immediately put it into our bowl with our other items. So we want it to be hot when we put it on there so that it really soaks in the ghee and heats up the Parmesan cheese a little bit. And then we're also gonna soak up the rest of the oil that was in there so that everything's kind of like saturated and yummy and flavorful, and that's the point, right? All right. By the way, I have the most annoying timer in the world. I used to have a timer that turned itself off after a few beeps. Not anymore. This thing just beeps and beeps and beeps until you knock it off. I was gonna touch it with my foot. That's okay. So everything's kind of crackling. Ooh. And we're just gonna take the hot broccoli right away and just put it directly into the bowl. So if you're making dinner, if you're making your Thanksgiving dinner, this could literally be the last dish. You have the broccoli on the plate, you have 15 minutes left of your cooking, and you just throw the broccoli in, you have the bowl ready so that all you gotta do is mix it and throw it on the table. Oh my God, that would be the best way to do it. because that way you're getting it hot, you're getting it crispy right out of the oven. Oh, so good. All right, I think I'm getting the hang of this cooking show thing. I don't know, maybe you can leave me a comment and let me know. So now that it's hot, I'm gonna start to mix it around. All right, now listen, if you want to lessen the calories a little bit, do something a little different, you could do less ghee, you could use a different oil, you could do less bacon. So there's lots of options on how to make this a lower calorie option. So you want to really mix it around. I'm getting a little bit of still see the ghee is still not quite melted. And it's good to have a little bit of the extra bacon or the extra Parmesan cheese so that you can top it off, make it look nice and fancy, all fancy like. All right. So once it's all done, we're just gonna plate it. Like I said, guys, this is a really just easy dish. All right, and that's it. So then it's gonna look all nice and, there we go. So it's gonna look all nice and crunchy. I was just gonna put a finger in it and eat it, but I think I'm gonna get a little more civilized with you guys. And I accidentally got a spoon. See, this is not my, let's see. I mean, I probably wouldn't tell you if it tasted terrible, right? But it tastes really good. All right, guys, that's it. That's the broccoli. I actually, shot this whole thing in, let's see, what are we at? I think we're only at like 15 minutes here. So, or actually 20 minutes. So it's a really easy dish to make, super flavorful and yummy, and I definitely recommend it. Some nice twists that you could put on it as well. You could add just a little bit, tad of maple syrup and sweeten it up a little bit. That's another option. Also, you could add other vegetables to it as well, because no vegetables do badly paired with Parmesan cheese and bacon. So you can make a whole vegetable medley with this as well. But I promise you, it will be a dish that a lot of people will be like, oh my God, I want more of that. And it's never gonna be a bad thing if people want more broccoli. So there you go. All right, guys. Well, hey, thanks for tuning in. Definitely leave me some comments below if you have any feedback, thoughts, or if you tried it, you think it tastes awesome. Let me know, and then we'll keep it up. Next week, we're going to focus in on some yummy carrots as a side dish, and then the last meal, of course, we're going to do a day early before Thanksgiving because I do these on Thursdays. And it's going to be, we're going to make a clean eating pumpkin pie, which is my jam. That's my favorite thing, and that's why we're saving the best for last. All right, guys, well, here's your broccoli. I'm just going to eat this entire bowl right now. Don't mind me. All right.